Hello and welcome to PHTV Channel 4. We'll be talking today about the importance of saving your photo memories. My name is Judy Weber from Quality Plus Photo, and with me here on a panel are some of my Association of Personal Photo Organizer friends. We have Beth Verdon here from Beautiful Views by Beth. We have Susan O'Keefe from SOC Archives, and we have Christy Wright from
Structured Simplicity.
Structured Simplicity. So September has been declared National Photo Month, National Save Your Photos Month, and we'll be sharing with you stories and tips about the importance of safekeeping your photos. So we'll start with Beth. Tell us about your association with APPO, what APPO's about, and about Save Your Photos Month.
Thanks, Judy. It's great to be here with everyone to talk about Save Your Photos Month. Each year, during the month of September, professionals in the photo industry work together to raise awareness about safeguarding photos, specifically from disaster. Disasters can be natural or they can be man-made. We often think about hurricanes in the coastal regions, the wildfires in the western United States, and for us here in the Midwest, it's tornadoes. But for most of us, though, smaller personal disasters like a flooded basement from a sump pump failure, a house fire, the loss of a cell phone, or a computer crash are going to be the things that threaten our family's memories with little or no notice at all. For the past 5 years, our professional group, the Association of Personal Photo Organizers, called APPO for short, has spearheaded a public service campaign called Save Your Photos. It teaches individuals how they can preserve their photos, videos, and documents in case of a disaster. Taking the steps to prevent your collection from damage or loss could be one of the most important things that you do for your family now and for future generations. APPO members like us are trained photo professionals ready to help their communities to organize, preserve, and share their photo memories. During September, you're going to see APPO members educating the public in lots of different ways. We'll be hosting in-person events in the community, in our studios, and in retail venues. You'll also see the Save Your Photos campaign online at saveyourphotos.org. This website has great resources for everyone. You can sign up for the Save Your Photos Summit there, and when you do that, you'll get daily content to help you get started on your path to protection. Participants in the summit will hear from photo organizers just like us, and they'll be sharing their tips for fighting disasters before they happen.
Well, thanks, Beth, for explaining that and the important association that we do belong to. So what made you get involved in APPO?
Well, for me, I've been my family's photographer and an avid scrapbooker for about 25 years. I started shooting a digital SLR and using a cell phone, a smartphone, about 13 years ago. And when I did that, the number of photos that I took just exploded. I was still printing all my photos, but I was really feeling anxious about how much I was accumulating, and I was seeing lots of duplicates and triplicates of my photos. I didn't want to miss any moments with my family, so I just kept convincing myself that this was the right thing to do. But more and more, the more I shot, the further behind I got in preserving and protecting and sharing those memories. So for me, one day in 2013 in November changed everything for me, and that was the Washington, Illinois tornado. Although I live here in the Chicago suburbs, my husband's family is from Peoria, East Peoria in Washington. We spent that day and that night tracking down family, making sure that they were okay. We had some extended family members that were uninjured but had severely damaged home. We had another niece who was just 3 blocks from the hardest hit area of Washington, and thankfully her house wasn't even touched. We watched the TV news that night and could not believe the stories they were talking about debris from this tornado landing 150 miles from Washington, just raining down documents and photos and papers and all sorts of things. It was just unbelievable. So the next morning, my husband got up and called me on the cell phone. I was getting ready for work and said, "I left you something on the kitchen counter." So I go out there and I see an 8x10 school photo of this beautiful high school girl, and it's got corners ripped off of it. I flip it over, can't tell the girl's name, but I could see the name of the photo studio, and it was from Washington, Illinois.
Wow.
Crazy. I just couldn't believe that something could be in a pile of leaves in my driveway 125 miles from home. And I posted it on my Facebook page. My family downstate shared it. And by 6 o'clock that night, we knew who the girl was. I had contacted her parents through Facebook, and we had arranged for that photo to get home. That family had lost their home. They had lost everything. And so they were really grateful that someone took the time to send that picture back to them. It made me take a really good hard look at my own photos, everything that I'd gotten from my parents and my grandparents, and I found Appo, and then I started helping others with their own photos.
That story gives me chills. Just
Really?
how it even happened is amazing.
The disasters, I think we're going to see more and more of it in our own businesses. I know, Judy, for you had a similar situation with a disaster that affected you and how you work with people in your business, too.
I did, and we started our photo business in 1982, and basically back in the day, all we did was develop film and print pictures, but we were preserving people's memories by doing that. One day in August of 2007, I was on a trip home from visiting my mom, and I was coming down Route 80, and I got a phone call from my husband's cousin, who lives across the street from my sister-in-law. And she was panicking, and she said, Judy, your sister Nancy's house is on fire. And I was just really panicky. And believe it or not, I was right at Maple Street, and I was able to exit and get to her house probably within 5 minutes. And when I got there, I was just amazed. The photo I took of the house when I arrived was blazing on fire. Very scary. It was a 5-alarm fire, and there was just chaos everywhere. Crying, hugging, consoling. It was a really long day. I stayed through it, and finally, at some point in the evening, the fire department gave us the okay to go into the house and salvage what might have, been left. And so we went in, and it was the worst experience I've ever experienced, going into a newly, burnt home and seeing all of their possessions just destroyed. I got kind of sick of being inside smelling all that, so I went outside and I took a break, get some fresh air. And at that moment, my sister-in-law, Nancy, walked out the front door of her home holding a Rubbermaid bin filled with photos, and it was dripping wet. It was just soaked. And she said to me, she cried, and she said, Judy, help me. Well, I didn't know what to do, but I'm the photo person. I guess I should know what to do. But at that point, all these things were going through my mind. How can I help her? And so I went back in, and we scavenged as many photo bins and memory boxes that we could. We put them in the back of my van, and I drove them home. And I still was thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And somehow, just being in the photo business, I knew that I needed to get them apart so they didn't dry and stick together. So for 3 days, my children and I peeled apart photos. We laid them on our floor, which was carpet tiles. We covered the tables with sheets and things that the photos wouldn't stick to, and it took us 3 days to peel them apart. My basement was amazing with all of the tables and all of the surfaces, my ping pong table, my pool table, and the floor was just lined. And it ended up to be somewhere in the vicinity of 12,000 photos. We were able to salvage everything that she gave us except 4 Polaroids. And Polaroids had a different surface on their photos, and it gelled. And I just wasn't able to save those photos. But wow, it just was such an unbelievable experience that I sort of had a a new direction in my business, because my business was going from analog to digital very quickly.
Yeah.
And I had to decide how to help her. And as I did it, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, people have flooded basements, tornadoes, fires that affect the Midwest. So this is where I can become important in it. And then I watched, through my association, I watched a webinar given by Kathy Nelson, the director of, director of APO, and I immediately said, I have to join this. I mean, it is something that I need more resources, I need to learn more, and I need to help people better.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's my story.
It's amazing.
It is. It is. It's amazing. Yeah.
So Susan, did you have any kind of experience, or how did you get involved?
So I have a little bit of different of experience when it comes to loss, and my loss comes involved in the loss of loved ones. So on the screen you should see right now a series of 3 photos. The first photo is a picture of my great-grandparents that was taken in the 1890s. At the time that my grandmother was 3 years old, my great-grandfather passed away. It was only 6 years after that photo was taken. The next photo is a photo of my grandparents. My grandfather died when my dad was 10. And the last picture is a picture of my parents, and my mom died when I was 19. So even though we have these photos, I don't have their stories to go along with it that wasn't written down. So through the years, I've collected many such photos and documents, many of them dating back to the 1800s or early 1900s. And I realized as I sorted through them and organized them for myself, the photos don't only belong to me, but they belong to my children, they belong to my siblings, their children, to my cousin, my family that spans across the nation. So I needed to do something with those photos. So as you can see, you know, natural disasters aren't the only thing that create the loss of photos.
Yeah.
It also is the loss of loved ones. In addition to the loss of loved ones, it's the loss of memories as well. You know, I had a great opportunity in 1991 to go to Poland and go to the farm that my grandmother was born on. And I did it all right. I took a lot of photos. I documented pictures of people, places. When I got home, I got those photos developed. I put them in photo albums. But now here it is, 26 plus years later, I look at those photos. I never took the time to write the stories down behind them. So hundreds and thousands of photos later, I can't tell you where those photos were taken in some
It's very
regards.
common.
Very
They're
common.
very common for a lot of us.
Right. I can't tell you who those people are. And I'm the family historian. So I came to realize that it was really, really important to start documenting this information and to sharing those stories for generations to come.
Wow. So what advice would you give to your audience?
Well, Judy, today there are so many options out there. It's somewhat overwhelming. It can be from digitizing your personal photo collection to organizing those photos that you have digitally on your phones and your cameras and on your computers. For example, I have a really good friend that was doing all the right things. She gathered her photos, she documented where the photos came from, had them all organized, wanted to start digitizing them. Her and her husband did research on a scanner to figure out what was the best scanner for them to use. They went and they made an investment into that scanner. But when they got home, they realized that each time they needed to scan a photo, they had to pick up the cover, set the photo down, close the cover, watch the scanner go back and forth, pick up the cover again, pull the photo out, and start the process all over again.
A lot of time.
It's a lot of time. She was defeated as soon as she got started. So her mom told her, you need to call Susan and talk to Susan and see what she's doing. So my recommendation is, even if you want to do it yourself, is to reach out to a photo organizer. They're going to help you get started. They're going to save you time. They're going to save you money. And then they're also going to guide you through some simple steps in getting organized. Those steps are: 1, start by collecting your data and converting the outdated data to digital. Number 2, curate your digital files and permanently organize them and store them. And then 3, celebrate your memories by sharing that information, sharing those photos with others. Because you know what? It's not a matter of if a disaster is going to happen, it's when a disaster is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, very
Just
sim-
on the news, there was just about all those houses, natural gas explosion, like 8 houses
Who would have thought?
blew up or
Yeah.
something. And not all next to each other either. They're sporadic.
Right.
Happens
And you
every
never
day.
know when
Exactly.
that's
There's
going to
been a lot
happen.
of disasters in the last month or two, so
Yeah, absolutely.
it's where we can reach people even outside of our area here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Christy, you had a different reason for getting involved.
I did. I am of the generation of, since college, we've had the technology and the cell phones, and that's where all of the pictures started on in college. And now I'm a mom of 2 young kids, and I'm watching all these other young mothers where we have cell phones that are completely full. We can't even take more pictures of our kids because we have 50 pictures of them posing in their tutu before a ballet recital of that one pose. So I found that a lot of my generation is very overwhelmed with the technology, and the technology has changed so fast that as the focus has become on our children, you're not keeping up with the technology to maintain the photos the way that it should probably be done. So as I started this, I saw a lot of people with their phones full, their computers full, 8 copies of different photos, maybe 1 copy of others, and no backup systems in place. So with technology changing every day, I just fell in love with helping people learn how to use what they have so that they can get control of it and have an easy system to maintain going forward so that they don't lose their memories.
So you said it's important for you to teach people how to back up their photos and enjoy them. So what are some of the ways that you help your clients do that?
The biggest, most important thing, in my opinion, is called the 3-2-1 backup strategy. It was developed by the Department of Homeland Security. It's 3 copies of everything. There is 2 physical copies in your home. One is your computer. The second might be an external hard drive that's set to automatically back up. Because if you say you're just going to do it every time you upload a picture, that's probably not really going to happen. We all know that, right?
Exactly.
We do that with our own photos. So two local copies, and the third is a cloud backup. I like a system that automatically backs up also to the cloud, so you don't have to remember to do it all the time. For me, that cloud, there's so many options out there. We hear that word, the cloud, all the time. There's so many options out there. I think it's really important to pick one that you know what your rights are, you know what rights you're giving away to that company. Yes, there's different costs associated with them, but there's also a cost of recovery. Some of them that my clients upload to, you could only download 100 photos at a time. When you have 16,000, that takes a very long time.
No, it does. I have a cousin who lives down in Florida, and so every time there's a hurricane, she has this box that she has set aside with all of her important papers, her marriage certificate, whatever she needs, and she also has all of her USBs in there. So when she has to evacuate, she picks up her box and takes it with her. So,
And it's, if you have it down to some USBs or an external hard drive where you could put it all on, and the cloud is one step further so that if there's a disaster, you don't even have time to grab that box. There's services that you just buy your USB drive. They send you everything that was on the cloud back to you, and even if you send the USB drive back, you get your money back. So,
cool.
sure, safe way to save your photos. My biggest thing is getting all of that technology. This is an example of it. Getting all of that technology. This is one of my more recent customers. 2 computers, 2 cameras, external hard drive, 6 SD cards, 5 thumb drives, 19 discs, and a floppy disk.
Wow.
And I take all of that and I get it down to the external hard drive.
Show the audience that. Oh
So
my
the
gosh,
external
that
hard
is
drive
amazing.
Is what you need to just get down to. And a cloud, not just a computer and a cloud, 3 copies. But I've really found that's where my niche is, because these young moms, they hand me everything. They're like, just fix it.
Help
That'd
me.
be great.
A help me story, right? It's kind of the same situation.
Right.
Yes.
So, Beth, I know that you deal often with the physical photos and family history.
That's okay.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carol,
yes,
is it?
I do. Christy does a lot of digital with the digital conversion. We all have ways that we're sharing I'll talk a little bit about traditional scrapbooking, and then we can each talk about some of the other ways as well. So as I mentioned, I'm a traditional scrapbooker. I brought a sample of a 12 by 12 scrapbook here today, and a page laid out as a 2-page spread here.
So cute.
Real cute, recent family trip that we went on. At first glance, you look at it and you say, wow, that's cool, and how long did that take you? Well, I can tell you that you don't have to be creative to do this. I am the world's best copier.
Pinterest, right?
Yeah, and most of the scrapbooking companies that are out there now have prefabricated templates that you can use. Everything that you see in this display is certified archival safe, from the photo paper itself to the papers that are used in the production to the plastic covers that are used to protect the photo pages. For people that don't do printed photos, a lot of these scrapbook programs are available digitally, so if you have your photos on your computer digitally, you can drag and drop them in to create your own scrapbook page or your own photo books, and Christy has samples of those as well.
This is my family vacation, not as recent. Yeah, you just drop them in. You can have different themes, different backgrounds, different templates.
Right, and you can tell the story not only in pictures but also journal.
Yes.
Like Susan was saying, is get that story down.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those of us that are downsizing, we don't want to have these big photo albums around, we can take these photo albums and get them digitized and get them even smaller.
Exactly.
Not only are they in a smaller volume, so if you've already created these albums, we can get them down to smaller for you, but as Christy was saying, we can get them into USB drives, we can get them on external hard drives, so you still have them in the smaller place of when you're downsizing.
And you can also take that digital photo book and copy it very easily. It wouldn't be so easy
That's what I do with
to do
mine.
that with the big scrapbooks,
Yes.
but you could easily digitally
Yes.
reproduce them for a small cost. But you could also take your scrapbook pages and have us scan them and digitize them and make it, just like that.
That's what I do. That's what I do to safeguard my scrapbooks in case there was a fire and I couldn't get them out. Is I go ahead and get my pages scanned, and I have a digital scrapbook of what I made in physical space.
And every time I order a family scrapbook or a family picture book, I order 3, because then when my kids go away, sometime when they get old and leave,
It'll happen.
Sometimes they don't leave.
they'll be leaving. I just
They're
hand
for a
them-
long time.
Yes. I will hand them a whole pile and say, "Here's your life," and I get to keep. I give them the one that they rummaged through all these years because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
look through them all the time now, and I'll keep the nice new copies to look back at them when they were little and cute and nice.
And another way to share your photos is on photo gifts.
Absolutely.
There are hundreds and thousands of types of photo gifts that you can give someone, and remember that it's only going to be a one-of-a-kind gift. They'll never get a gift, and the whole concept is make them cry. Make them cry and love the photo that you took the time to create and share.
Yes.
exactly.
And the other thing I would just want to throw in here is the digital picture albums now. So you take your pictures, you can take them from your phone, put them on an app, put them in a digital picture frame that just is constantly playing in your house. So as my kids and my husband sit and watch TV, I have a digital picture frame right next to it. And then all of a sudden my daughter's up just watching the digital picture frame because I've uploaded new pictures that she hasn't seen before. From when she's a baby, from before she was born. And you could always change them, and they're great gifts for family members who might not be as good as technology, because you could do it over the cloud and just send them there without the person that living there doing anything to it.
And as a grandparent, I love to get the notice on my phone that we have a new photo on our
Yes.
digital frame. And
fun.
we stop and we just watch to see the grandbabies
That's
pop
excellent.
up.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to, are they Bluetooth enabled? Are you able to just upload them from your phone?
Yes, it's cloud. They have digital photo frames. There's 2 different kinds. One that has an SD card. They manually put the pictures on the SD card, and then they'll play from there, but they have a lot of cloud-based ones. So once you hook it up to the Wi-Fi once in that person's house, they could live across the country. I'll upload it to a certain album on my app on my phone, and then it just starts playing on their frame. And they have email addresses associated with them also. So my mom has one. I just have her email address, and I just email her pictures that I love, and then they just show up at her house.
How fun.
Excellent.
Great.
Yeah.
How fun.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing all of your stories and your tips. And this has been really good. And we know how important Save Your Photos Month is. And it's not just a month.
Yes.
We try to, it has been designated for a month, but we just try to bring awareness around the
Yes,
country
yes.
for people to safeguard their photos and share them.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks. And so, again, I'm Judy Weber from Quality Plus Photo here in Palos Heights on 122nd in Harlem. I have a retail store. And Beth?
I'm Beth Verdon from Beautiful Views by Beth, and you can find us on the web at beautifulviewsbybeth.com, on Facebook at Beautiful Views by Beth, and by phone at 708-653-2511.
And I'm Susan O'Keefe of SOC Archives. I have a Facebook page, also SOK Archives. My website is sokarchives.com, or you can reach me by phone at 708-636-9723.
And I am Christy Wright with Structured Simplicity, and the easiest way is to find me at my website at structuredsimplicity.space, and you'll find everything else from there for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.